A lot of speakers are not very comfortable post-lunch sessions, but I love them simply because we've all had a packed lunch. Most of you guys are in a temporary state of bliss, so what I say will really not make a difference, and I get off pretty easily. Ram said he's been in the internet space for about a decade. I'm slightly older than him in that particular space. I used to work with a gentleman who you all know for other reasons. He was the one who started IPL in India. His name is Lalit Modi. I used to work with him from the year 1999 to 2003, and that's where I got introduced to the internet and the power of what it can deliver. And today when I walked in 13 years later to an environment where a lot of developers, selling or marketing so many products which are of course online, I saw a lot of crowd out there, and I was telling Ram that I wish that's the kind of crowd that is also there on the virtual space. Unfortunate it's still not reached that size or proportion. And the difference is, and the reason why that is, it's very simple. Everybody talks about engagement, but there are various ways of engagement. You engage with your bosses, you engage with your family, you engage with your friends, and all of that gets you something. So whenever a developer goes to a marketeer, the first point of conversation is engagement. I want consumers to engage with my brand. It's a little difficult on the net. I think that's the first fundamental insight that we need to understand fully. It's not so easy to engage on the net. Very few sites actually engage to the brand on the web. So developers in this room have a great opportunity to create parameters or operations that allow the brand to start engaging with the consumer. Again, when I walked through there was an expo, I think, that's just beside this room. There were 10-minute presentations. I think each vendor, marketeer, producer of a particular type of software, hardware was saying, this is what I have, this is what I sell, this is what my software, hardware, base, portal, technology does. My question would be, how much of it is actually from the client side? How much of that do I want? My wants are simple. At the end of the day, we are all here for one very simple thing. We need to sell a product to a certain set of consumers, customers, whatever you call them. That is my target audience. And you need to give me a platform or a tool that allows me to do exactly that with minimum hassle, clean interfaces, where the customer comes and says, whoa, this is actually better than the brick and mortar space. If I can do that as a technology provider, I'm home. If I haven't done it, there's a lot of homework to be done. Now that's the base I'm setting because a lot of us have had experiences with the net. Some of us are new. We move into a presentation and then possibly we'll come back to a little more of what I had in mind. Where do I click? Now, all of you would have these numbers. I'm sure these numbers have been presented to you in various formats, in various styles. I actually can't see that. Can you turn it around a bit? Is it possible? I can't see that. Can I go the other side? Yeah, cool. I think a hand mic would do. Presentation is right up there. These figures I think everyone has seen. What you'll also notice is that the biggest thing that has happened in the last 3 years in the internet space is, any guesses? No, in the internet space, what's been the biggest breakthrough? Internet space only. Laptop, tabletop, Facebook, right? Has it been or has it not been? How much of products or services does Facebook sell? Sorry? Facebook. No problems. I heard Facebook. Sorry. So I'm saying that, look at what the internet has in store for you. The guy who created Facebook had a very simple thought. He wanted people to connect to each other. I connected to school friends who I hadn't seen for 20 years in various parts of the world. Now that is the simplicity and ease with which he was able to do something. So that again is a case study by itself. Everybody has done a case study on Facebook. I don't want to do that. I'm not qualified to do that. But what I'm trying to say is that only when there is a simple, easy interface will customers or consumers start connecting to your brand. And here the brand was themselves. They were the biggest proponents of their own brand. So all these figures, great when they add up. But at the end of the day, what we all need to realize is that in the world, if there is 100 rupees of trade or business every day, would any of you take a guess as to how much is done through online? I'm talking about anything and everything, whether it's commodities, whether it's a samosa, whether it's Starbucks coffee, since we have Cafe Coffee Day here, Cafe Coffee Day coffee, Domino's pizzas, Citibank credit cards. How many of them are actually sold on the net for every 100 rupees that is created in the world in a day? Sorry? Yeah, it's about 3.7, which is quite sad. So again, look at the opportunity that exists. It's tremendous. But the only thing is, we all come up with things that we as developers or marketers believe it's the best thing. But somehow, customers are not convinced. And if you take away food, which is ready to cook, ready to eat, which is sometimes not easily available through the net, you still have 70% of trading done in terms of sales every day, and your percentage might move from 3.7 to possibly 5.1. So look at the space that there is there to be covered. And as I said, the crowd that is outside this room, if that's the crowd quality and quantity we can take outside to the virtual space, I think most of the work would have been done. These figures look nice. 3 out of 5 internet users in India visit retail sites. Visit. Mark the use of words. Growth of 40% over last year. Visits. I don't know. I think Manisha's team created a campaign where they're talking about Access Home Loans. And I think it's a 12 EMI free or something like that. Possibly she'll be telling you shortly about that. But again, it's very difficult to sell a certain set of products online. So people visit, they get information. But then where is the compulsion to conclude that particular transaction on the web? Is it laborious? Is it something I do not understand? Am I apprehensive about security threats or information theft or loss of information? I don't know. But at the end of the day, we need to realize 3.7 rupees out of every 100 only, including giants like Amazon. That's all that happens online, in sales in a day, across the world. It says gone is the store visit. I need to speak to my team. The store visit hasn't gone. I think they made a small mistake. But yes, the reliance on yourself to make a purchase today is much higher than the reliance on somebody else's expertise or knowledge. Because what the internet has done to us, it has made information available. Again, there was a fair set of companies outside propounding about how data can be used and warehoused and analyzed. And a lot of seminars have happened on big data. Big data is really not big. It's humongous. But there is so much data that sometimes it's very difficult to analyze it because that's not what I want. Because what I want is not there. So a lot of this development has to happen when people like you and I talk. Not at back offices in certain cities where I say, I'm going to start developing analytical tools and threads that will help me analyze data. Sometimes I don't want analysis. Sometimes I'm just looking at trends. Is that possible? But yes, the web has given us a lot of information. There's a lot of insights. There's a lot of knowledge about things that we buy. So the reliance, and that's where we come in, reliance. Sorry. But the reliance on yourself is higher than the reliance on the guy you used to depend on maybe 5 or 7 years ago because he knew more about the product. Today you know as much, if not more, about that particular product as well as competition on that particular product line. And now we come to us as a business, Reliance Capital. We have 5 businesses. We do loans, which falls under commercial finance and home finance. We do general insurance. We do life insurance. we do broking, and we do mutual funds. There are 5 lines of business. Now, out of these 5, 4 businesses where the money comes from outside, other than the loan part. So it is very critical for us as an industry or a business to ensure that we are able to propose the right kind of information and qualify the right kind of products to a consumer who I want him to buy my product. But if I look at my business in particular, which is home and commercial, very difficult. Why is it difficult? Because here it's different. I'm not taking money. I'm giving money. That's number one. Number two, I don't know how many of you in this room would have taken loans. I'm sure a lot of would have, irrespective of where you've taken it from. You do not take it as an impulse purchase, other than if you just walk into a store and you're buying a color television or a microwave oven that looks good. You think out a car loan, you think out a home loan. You think out a loan where you're buying a two-wheeler. And that does not happen over the net. What happens is information dissemination. I can tell you about my product line. I can tell you about how quick I am. I can tell you about my competitive advantages. But I cannot sell you a product online. Because there is an engagement that is required. There are questions and answers, which no website in this world is adept to handle. That has to happen face to face. Because whatever we believe that the questions are going to ask, and I'm going to have a question bank, and I'm going to have somebody who's virtually chatting to the customer and answering his questions, the customer is always one step ahead of you. So if you've planned 20 question and answers in what we call FAQs, he'll ask you the 22nd and 23rd question. And so that does not happen on the net. So it gets a little bit difficult to sell loans over the web. So we chose a strategy that was a little different. We did not get into the web directly. What we did was, we used the ground as a platform to get to the web. We tried to connect 2 mediums, because we realized that they could possibly marry each other as far as thought processes are concerned, and possibly yield us something which standalone any of the mediums would not have been able to deliver. Now look at what Google has done. I'm not sure whether there is a Google representative in today, but they have taken the web to the SME. And I'm sure all of you know what the SME is. It's the small and medium enterprises that contribute to 47% of India's GDP. Hitherto unknown, but if you see in the last 3 years, every bank, every institution, every lender says, I am for the SME. Because that's what constitutes the country's population today. Google has also said that by 2014, I think that's 5 lakh free websites, and they do it very simply. Because they realize that these SMEs need to talk to others, possibly other parts of the country, other parts of the world. They do not have in it to do it directly, so they build free websites. Now, what does this website do? It allows a partner here to communicate with somebody else. Maybe it is not a platform to sell a product, because some specifications need to be seen and felt, not just seen over the web. But this allows them, Google has created a platform for the SMEs, for them to propose what they have. And that leads to a discussion which eventually might conclude in a sale, but that is a very, very big beginning from Google for the SMEs. Now, we were also doing something, and we've stumbled upon a case study called Mumbai Magic. You can just note down it's very simple, it's mumbaimagic.com. Whenever you guys have some free time, you can log on and figure out what this lady's done. And what she's done is basic Mumbai tours. I don't know how many of you all are from Mumbai or have ever visited it. She'd made basic Mumbai tours look so appealing by describing, by analyzing, by presenting, and by using the web. So you have Mumbai tours starting from as cheap as 10 grand a day to possibly 3.5 lakhs a day. And the next slide, this is Deepa. She's the one who's done this. And if you look at these numbers, you'll realize that she hasn't done too bad for herself. Being someone who is not too connected to this medium, she's made a fairly small fortune for herself. That's the power of the web. It's just that each of us need to understand how to utilize it better, and then make it possible for consumers to start engaging with our brand. However, on the other side, where we are selling life insurance, general insurance, things have moved. Very simply because when you buy online, when I sell a customer online, I'm able to give him a better deal. And that's no rocket science because the intermediary who we had to pay a commission to is now no more in the scene. So if a policy cost you 100 bucks, it possibly would cost you maybe 73 today for every 100 rupees you used to spend earlier. So there are avenues where it is easier for you to sell online. Now there cannot be a mad rush to sell everything online. It doesn't work. Some products are made in such a way that the brick and mortar model is going to work for sales. We can disseminate information through the web. If you want to conclude a sale, it has to be done physically. But insurance policies which are without medical checks, car insurances which are when they're going to be renewed, very simply sold through the web. And even though it's not in this particular presentation, Reliance General Insurance has seen an 83% increase in revenues in the last year and a half. 83 is a huge percentage for a particular organization which never had any online sales 2 years ago. So even though the base might be small, that gives us a lot of encouragement that we're doing the right way. Another thing that we've done, reduce the number of steps from logging onto the website to concluding a sale. Earlier it was 8 steps, today it's 3. My engagement tool on the website, whether it's life insurance or general insurance, is a simple calculator. What is your premium? And when I start doing that, that is when engagement begins. Because that's exactly the same question he or she will ask the advisor or the agent. Premium kitna? But today you don't need somebody else to answer that for you. Our websites, I'm sure a host of other websites, would be answering that same question. What is your EMI? How many years, rate of interest, this is what you got to pay. That is where your engagement starts with your consumer. He knows before he makes a purchase, this is what he needs to pay. I'm nearly home. Now where he's going to compare you, he's going to start comparing you in prices. Because he knows what you're offering, he'll try and get in a competitive bid, but I've already there in his mindset, in his consideration set. He's going to use the web to check for other quotes, and in all probability, he'll use the web to close the sale. There are n number of secure sites to make payments from. There are n number of people who will elucidate more on that. And if you see the benefits, and if you look at the total number of policies, that's not sold by us, that's sold by the industry at large, from 10,000 to 70,000 a month. So look at the opportunity, and that is the tip of the iceberg if we tell you what are the number of policies sold and how many agents LIC has in this country. It's mind-boggling. If you realize, have you heard latest ads of LIC? They're asking people to be their agents. Because they realize, possibly, that the web might play deterrent to their agents. So this is a great way to ensure the guy in between is off. You're dealing with the organization directly or the company directly, and you're saving money in between. And you don't have to depend on the agent to renew your policy. You get alerts or reminders a week or a month before the policy is about to expire. And we finally come to us. We started in 2007. I'll skip this slide. But yes, when we started as a consumer finance company. We had personal loans, we had credit cards, we had unsecured business loan. Today, we only do secured loans, and that makes the job of selling loans much more difficult on the web than possibly a personal loan on a credit card could have done. This is how we reach the SMEs. But yes, we also make a decent, I wouldn't say, there are many people who would be doing a much better job than we do as far as SEE, SEO, and SEM is concerned. We are still taking baby steps. And when I was having this conversation with Ram, I said there are 2 sets of internet users, the use and throw and the use and grow. We fall somewhere in between. We've still not thrown it, but we are in a position to figure out how to grow it. So we are somewhere in between. And all this happened because we started doing a lot of ground events with the SMEs, and they realized, they also told us, that maybe if we could do things together on the web, we'll be able to reach out to more people. It is not possible to explain to maybe 10,000 SMEs our product lines, but at least the explanation part. Are you eligible, are you not? Is it viable for you to borrow, is it not? Is it viable for me to lend to you, or is it not? Basic questions are answered. They don't need to make unnecessary movements to our office or us to them. And once that happens, again, the possibilities of a sale, which is physical, offline, not online, is larger. we've been able to do a decently good job of using the net. So when you do SME loans, luckily we are at number 3 when you get the search results. So that's something that my team has done diligently for the last couple of years. That's how the website looks like. We've tried and kept it clean. We've kept the details to the details, and we've made navigation a little easier. Because a lot of websites are fundamentally great, but when you start navigating those websites, it's like, I don't know how many of you have experienced Bombay floods and the Fiat taxi. It becomes a little difficult. Water seeps in very easily. Just another very critical thing that we do, we don't adapt ads. That's one thing we did from day one. Thankfully, I was working on the internet platform for 13 years. We do not make our television ad, our internet ad. We do not make our internet ad, outdoor medium ad. We develop things separately. Because the least that we understand is a particular set of creatives does not suit all media, because each media is different and is there to serve a specific purpose. I'll just show you one. And if some of you all have ideas to better it, please let us know. We're always on the lookout for thoughts which make this look better. These are the industries that we are present in. We've shown them some sort of graphics. And we end this by saying, don't live. That's an older ad. I couldn't get the newer one in the last couple of days. Thank you. So that's one of the ads that we've done. We have a set for each of our product lines, and we develop them as per media needs. The results have definitely been encouraging. So if I'm here to present a case study, I'm happier than what I was maybe 2 years ago. Because the conversions that we do through a set of ground as well as online activities is as high as 8%. So somewhere maybe we've been able to engage the consumer through the kind of support that we've given him. And it is always not necessarily selling. We've tied up with some agencies who have their own websites. We've tied up, which provide information, industry experts, and advice for the SME. So since they can backlink into us, we've never tried and sold a loan. We've just tried to educate the consumer. And what has happened is, out of the loans that for every 100 leads that we receive, we convert 8 of them. The industry average on conversions is 3%. So thanks to this medium and the right usage, we're better off. And 15%, that's a large number, even though it's been very difficult. 15% of total businesses that we do comes from the online space, or the usage of the online space, which comes from engagement with the end user. We are not all over the place. We cannot afford to be. We have tight marketing budgets. I'm sure everybody does. But what we've been able to do is identify niche players who talk to our customers. So sometimes it is not possible to talk to your customers directly. So we do it through others. And when we do it through others, the win-win is a little larger. And that's why 15% of our total business happens through the website. I think that's the last slide. Yes, it is. Thank you very much for listening in patiently.